recent past. You remember even less from 5 years ago. And much of what we do remember is incomplete and inaccurate. Our memories for what happened are particularly vulnerable to omissions and unintentional editing. Do you remember where you were, who you were with, and what you were doing when President Kennedy was killed? When the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded? Or when the Twin Towers collapsed on September 11th, 2001? These recollections for shocking and emotional events feel vividly remembered even years later. But if you've ever reminisced about that day, or read or watched a news report about it, then I'd bet every penny I've got that your confidently held, highly detailed memory is loaded with stuff you never actually experienced. Accuracy aside, what does your brain remember? Your first kiss? The answer to 6 times 6? How to tie your shoes? The day your son was born? The day your grandmother died? The colors of the rainbow? Your address? How to ride a bike? What does your brain most likely forget? Your 10th kiss? What you had for dinner last Wednesday? Where you put your phone? The name of your 5th grade teacher? The name of the woman you met 5 minutes ago? Algebra? To take out the trash? The Wi-Fi password? Why do we remember our first kiss but not our 10th? What determines what we remember and what we forget? Memory is quite economical. In a nutshell, our brains have evolved to remember what is meaningful. They forget what isn't. The truth is, much of our lives are habitual, routine, and inconsequential. We shower, brush our teeth, drink coffee, commute to work, do our jobs, eat lunch, commute home, eat dinner, watch TV, spend too much time on social media, and go to bed. Day after day. We can't remember anything about the load of laundry we did last week, and that's okay. Most of the time, forgetting isn't actually a problem to solve. We would probably all agree that forgetting our 10th kiss, last week's laundry, what we ate for lunch on Wednesday, and whatever is on the head of a penny isn't such a big deal. These moments and details aren't particularly significant. However, our brains also forget plenty of things we do care about. I would very much like to remember to return my daughter's overdue library book, why I just walked into the kitchen, and where I put my glasses. These things matter to me. In these instances, we often forget not because it's efficient for our brains to do so, but because we haven't supplied our brains with the kinds of input needed to support memory creation and retrieval. These garden variety memory failures are normal outcomes of our brain's design. But we seldom think of them this way because most of us aren't familiar with our memory's owner's manual. We would remember more and forget less if we understood how the process works. Most of what we forget is not a failure of character, a symptom of disease, or even a reasonable cause for fear, places most of us tend to go when memory fails us. We feel worried, embarrassed, or plain scared every time we forget something we believe we should remember or would have remembered back when we were younger. We hold on to the assumption that memory will weaken with age, betray us, and eventually leave us. As both a neuroscientist and the author of Still Alice, I've been talking to audiences around the world about Alzheimer's disease and memory for over a decade. Without exception, after every speech, people wait for me in the lobby or corner me in the restroom to express their personal concerns about memory and forgetting. Many have a parent, a grandparent, or a spouse who had or has dementia. They've witnessed the devastation and the heartache caused by profound memory loss. When these folks can't remember their Netflix password or the name of that movie starring Tina Fey, they worry that these failures might be early signs that they too are succumbing to inevitable disease. Our fears around forgetting aren't only about a dread of aging or Alzheimer's. They're also...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.